Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Supadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Udapadakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagna Raghunatham Vidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaidam Savadudam Parjana Saidam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakham Vidam Sya Ye Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpati Gopesha Govika Kanda Radha Kanda Namostude Apta Kanjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा हरि ओम तत्सत. So welcome all the devotees for today's Bhagavad Gita. We are reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 15, text 16. Dvayamo purusho loke sharachakshara eva cha sharasarvani bhutani udastokshara uchyate. Dvayamo purusho loke Sharachakshara evacha Sharasarvani Bhutani Utastokshara Uchyate. Okay, Tarani Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Dvaimo Purusho Loke Shasha Evacha
Sharachakshara. Shara Cha Akshara.
Shari Prabhuji. Sharakshakshara Evacha Sharak Sarvani Bhutani Kutastho Shara Uchyate.
Very good. Vandana Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. There are two classes of being, the fallible and the infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible.
Very good. So there are two classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible. Okay, so there, Lord Krishna says there are two types of living entities, fallible and the infallible. Okay, so what are the differences? Can anyone explain?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Can I say Prabhuji?
Yeah, please.
Fallible are the living entities in material world, and infallible are the Jivatmas in Krishna Loka, Vaikuntha Loka.
Okay.
Yes.
So what exactly do you mean by fallible and infallible?
We are fallen souls, so we are in this material world, and infallible, they attain the greatest perfection, so they are staying with Lord and they are doing devotional service. Again, they don't get into this material world again in birth and death cycle. Am I correct? Sorry, Prabhuji, if anything wrong, please forgive.
No problem. Okay, anyone else? Little more?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Fallible means we are in this material world, and we are sometimes we are not doing the good karma, we are not engaged in the Krishna consciousness. Might be we can get birth in a lower this lower world, But in the spiritual world, we are in the Krishna Loka, we are always engaged in this Krishna consciousness. So we will not come again in this material world, or might be we will improve above that. So that is like infallible. Sorry, whatever I don't know, whatever I said.
Anyone else? Okay, let's read the purport. It will be more clear. So we'll explain to you that. As already explained, the Lord in his incarnation as Vyasadeva compiled the Vedanta Sutra. Okay. Here, the Lord is giving a summary, the contents of the Vedanta Sutra. He says that the living entities who are innumerable can be divided into classes. Okay. So there are innumerable living entities. Okay, it's divided into two classes, the fallible and the infallible. So from this, we understand that in the material world, all the living entities are fallible. Okay. In the spiritual world, all the living entities are infallible. The living entities are eternally separated parts and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We learned that in the same chapter, Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Okay, eternally separated parts and parcel of the Supreme. When they are in contact with the material world, they are called Jiva Bhuta. So when we come to this material world, when we come in contact with the material world, we are called Jivatma, Jiva Bhuta. And the Sanskrit words given here is Kshara, Sarvani Bhutani. Kshara means that which gets destroyed. Akshara means that doesn't get destroyed. So what is destructible in this material world? What is destroyed in this material world?
Body, Prabhuji.
Yes, the body. Okay. The body is fallible because we don't have our original body. Because when we came in contact with the material world, we got a material body which is fallible, which makes mistakes, error, flaws. Okay. So that's why when we come in contact with the material world, we are called Jiva Bhuta. And the Sanskrit words given here is Shara, Sarvani, Bhutani, means they are all fallible. Those who are in oneness with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, however, are called infallible. Oneness in quality, not in quantity. We should not mistake. They are called infallible because they are all in line with the desire of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are not against the desire of the Supreme Personality. They are in oneness, means they are in line with the desire of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That means they are always serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his desires. Whereas in the material world, we are away, we are trying to serve our senses rather than serving the senses of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when we try to serve our senses, in the material world, in a bodily conception, we are called fallible. Is it clear? So those who are in oneness with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, however, are called infallible. Oneness does not mean they have no individuality. It's not the position, status of merging with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, the living entities that doesn't get merged. Okay. But that there is no disunity. They are working in unity with the Supreme. So that is oneness. Okay. Their desires are, exactly in line with the desires of the Supreme. Those who are in the spiritual world. So they are all agreeable to the purpose of creation. Of course, in the spiritual world, there is no such thing as creation. But since the Supreme Personality of Godhead has stated in the Vedanta Sutra, he is the source of all emanations, that conception is explained. Now, got it? What is fallible and infallible? So according to the statement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, there are two classes of living entities. Vedas give evidence of this, so there is no doubt about it. The living entities who are struggling in this world with the mind and five senses have their material bodies. Is Prabhupada is giving further clarification, which are changing. The body keeps changing. Now I have a human body. Next life, we don't know what body I will get. It depends on my desire and the karma of this particular life. As long as living entity is conditioned, his body changes due to contact with matter. Matter is changing, so the living entity appears to be changing. So there is always transformation of matter. Okay, so the same element, earth, water, fire, air, ether. These are the matter. With this, we can manipulate this and make different shapes and different forms. So energy, the electrical energy, can be used for cooling and it can be used for heating also. Same energy, isn't it? So it's a transformation. It's matter. So matter changes. The matter changes according to how we manipulate that. So the living entity appears to be changing, but in the spiritual world, the body is not made of matter. Therefore, there is no change. Okay? So we have the Swarupa, eternal Swarupa in the spiritual world. Since it is not matter, it is Satchidananda, it doesn't undergo any change. In the material world, everything is matter. Bhumi, Rapa, Nalo, Vayu, Kammano, Buddhi, Ahankara, these are all matter. And it transforms, it changes. So in the spiritual world, the body does not change. There is no old age. There is no birth. There is no death. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi is not there in the spiritual world because there is no change. If there is no change, how it will transform to something else? No. It is applicable only in the material world. They all exist in oneness. They all exist in oneness. Shara Sarvani Bhudani, any living entity who has come in contact with matter, beginning from the first created being Brahma, down to a small ant, is changing its body. Therefore, they are all fallible. In the spiritual world, however, they are always liberated in oneness. So in the material world, we have a temporary material body which is subjected to transformation and change, and it gets destroyed, by the passing of time. Aham kalosmi. I am time. Time kills everything, destroys everything, changes everything. You just take your photo 10 years back, see, and now the present photo you see. Is it the same? Okay. You all have specs. Just few years back, take your photo and see. Did you have specs? No, changed. So everything in the material world changes. In the spiritual world, it doesn't change. Okay, so any questions or any comments? If nothing, we'll go to the next verse, text 17. Uttama Purusho Stanya Paramatmeti Udahada Yalokatrayam Avishya Vibharti Avyaya Ishvara Uttama Purusho Stanya Paramatmeti Udahada Yalokatrayam Avishya Vibharti Avyaya Ishvara. Saraswati Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Uttama Purusha Swanya Paramatmeti Udahrata Yolokatrayam Avisya Bibharti Avyaya Ishvara.
Hare Krishna. Hare Bol. Sachi Mataji, translation.
Besides these two, there is the greatest living personality, the Supreme Soul, the imperishable Lord Himself, who has entered the three worlds and is maintaining them.
Very good. But besides these two, there is the greatest living personality, the Supreme Soul, the imperishable Lord Himself, who has entered the three worlds and is maintaining them. So, besides these two, which are these two? Fallible and infallible. Okay. Who is there? There is a greatest living personality, Supreme Soul, the imperishable Lord Himself, the Supreme Lord, Bhagwan Himself. What has He done? He was entered the three worlds and is maintaining them. Who is maintaining? Vishnu, right? Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. So, what role has He taken? He has taken the important role of maintaining. He alone can maintain. He is the creator, He is the maintainer, He is the destroyer. Okay. But the maintainer part He Himself has taken, and the other two parts of this material world He has given to His empowered representatives like Brahma and Shiva. So the idea of this verse is very nicely expressed in the Kathopanishad and Svedasvatara Upanishad. It is clearly stated here that above the innumerable living entities, some of whom are conditioned and some of whom are liberated, there is the Supreme Personality who is Paramatma. The Upanishadic verse runs as follows: Nityo Nityanam Chedanas Chedananam. What is the meaning of this? Can anyone say? Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chedananam.
Bhagavan is one and we are all his part and parcels, Prabhu.
Nityo Nityanam. Yes, you are right. No doubt. But what exactly? Of all the Nityas, Nityo Nityanam. Of all the Chedanas, Chedananam, who Supreme Personality of God and Krishna is the chief. Nityo Nityanam, Chetanas Chedanam. For all the Nitya, who is the chief? Eternal? Lord Krishna. Of all the Chetanas, who is the chief? Lord Krishna. That is it. So the purport is that amongst all the living entities, both conditioned and liberated, there is one Supreme Living Personality, the Supreme Personality. Living Personality, Supreme Personality of God, who maintains them and gives them all the facility of enjoyment according to different work. Okay. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead is giving us all the facility according to our karma. According to our karma. Just like when you work in the office, how you are working, accordingly you will be rewarded. Isn't it? So Lord, Supreme Lord is also giving us a facility according to what extent and what way we are satisfying Him, or what way we are living in this material world. Accordingly, according to our karma, He is rewarding us. That Supreme Personality of God is situated in everyone's heart as Paramatma. A wise man who can understand Him is eligible to attain perfect peace, not others. Okay. So, the Lord is in this material world in what form? Is available in what form?
Deity.
As?
It's a deity form, Prabhuji.
No, here. In everyone's heart.
Paramatma.
As Paramatma. So Lord is there in everyone's heart as Paramatma. So that's what he says. Uttama Purusha. Supreme. Apart from that, two, fallible and infallible, he is Uttama. So any questions or any comments?
Harishna Prabhu, what is the actual meaning of Chedana, Prabhu?
Chetana means consciousness. conscious beings, sentient beings.
And I have one more doubt, Prabhuji. Like when people die, we are in the material body. So that day you were telling that we get the spiritual body when we leave. So it is for everybody, or only for the devotees they get spiritual body, Prabhu? How is that?
When they get
When we-
liberated, the devotees get liberated, they get the spiritual body, the devotees. Those impersonalists, they don't get a spiritual body as because they don't do any seva. They they want to be the Brahman. Okay, so they want to lose. They want to leave their identity, individuality. They're afraid of body. Body means suffering. That is what their mentality is. Body means suffering. So we don't want any body.
Okay. So it's only for people who are liberated, the devotees, they get a spiritual body. The material body is...
Even the impersonalists are also liberated.
Yeah, but they don't get a body. It is just
because
a
they don't have the
light.
concept of Bhagwan.
Oh, mm.
So there is no seva, service for them. And they want to lose their identity. They want to merge in the
Merge in.
impersonal
Yes,
Brahman.
yes.
Anything else? Any other questions? Okay, then we'll go to next verse, text 18. Yasmat sharam maditoham aksharaadavi chotama atosmi loke vedecha pradita purushottama. Mayuri Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Am I audible, Prabhuji?
Yeah.
Yasmat ksharam atita aham aksharat api cha uttamah ata asmi loke vede cha prathita purusha uttamah.
Very good. Prabhu is there?
No, Prabhuji.
Okay.
I will read the
Yeah, please.
translation.
Yeah.
Because I am transcendental beyond both the fallible and the infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as that supreme person.
Very good. Because I am transcendental beyond both the fallible and the infallible. So he is not counted among the fallible and infallible. Okay. The fallible in the material world, the Jivatmas, they keep changing the bodies because of the karma. Infallible, they're all amsha. Okay, so he is not falling under that also infallible. He is beyond that. He is Uttama Purusha. He is transcendental. And because I am greatest, I am celebrated both in this world and in the Vedas as well. Because he is the greatest, he is Uttama Purusha, he is beyond fallible and infallible. He is celebrated in this world and in the other worlds also as that supreme person. Okay. No one can surpass Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, neither the conditioned soul nor the liberated soul. He is therefore the greatest of personalities. So there is nobody equal nor above the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Is there anybody above Supreme Personality of Godhead? Is there anybody greater than God?
No, Prabhuji.
Yes or no?
Yes. No, Prabhuji.
No, Prabhuji.
Sure?
Yes, Prabhu.
Nobody greater than God?
Asamurtva.
No, you are wrong.
Who is that, Prabhu? It is like my children class. One boy was telling, Krishna is great. No, I am greater than Krishna.
Yeah, he is right. He is right. Okay. If Krishna was greater, why he was running afraid of Yashodamai? If Krishna was greater than anyone, Why he was running, being afraid of the stick of Yashodamai.
It's bound by love, Prabhuji.
So there are, persons who are beyond the greatest personality Krishna also. So this is what. Okay. Okay. So no one can surpass the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Yes, literally no. But there are, he allows his devotees to surpass him. That is the speciality of Krishna. Out of love. Neither the conditioned soul nor the liberated soul is therefore the greatest of personalities. Now it is clear here that the living entities and Supreme Personality of Godhead are individuals. The difference is that the living entities, either in the conditioned state or in the liberated state, cannot surpass in quantity the inconceivable potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay. So the living entities, whether conditioned or liberated, they cannot surpass in quantity the inconceivable potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is incorrect to think of the Supreme Lord and the living entities as being on the same level or equal in all respects. There is always the question of superiority and inferiority between their personalities. The word Uttama is very significant. No one can surpass the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, so when we say the Tattva, when we say this literal meaning, yes, definitely there is nobody above. But in a different understanding, when we, say from the Rasa Tattva, okay, Rasa Tattva, we understand that Lord is conquered by his pure devotees. He becomes subjugated by the love of his own devotees. He bends his head. He takes the shoe of his father on his head and takes, wherever he is called, he goes there. He is chastised by his parents. He is teased by the gopis. In which religion the God is teased, the God is mocked, the God is chastised? No religion can do that. So this is a speciality, isn't it? So this is that loving relationship. This Rasa Tattva cannot be enjoyed by all. This is possible only in Sanatana. That too, not everybody. This only very, very, very fortunate souls can come to that level. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit edati siddhaye edadam abhisiddhanam kaschit mam veti tattvadaha. There is one verse in Srimad Bhagavatam also, muktanam abhisiddhanam. That also says the same thing. So it is not easy. At least we know in Tattva this is possible. We are far away from realizing this, but we can also try following in the footsteps of the Acharyas. Mahajano yena gatasa pantha. Following in the footsteps of greatest Acharyas, we can also go towards that. So the word loke signifies in the Paurusha Agama, the Smriti scriptures, as confirmed in the Nirukti dictionary, Lokyate Vedartho Nena. The purpose of the Vedas is explained by the Smriti scriptures. So what is Smriti scriptures? Can anyone say? Can you give some example of Smriti?
Which is remembered and then said. No.
Yeah. So can you give
all the Vedas are Smriti, Prabhuji?
No, Vedas are not Smritis.
Bhagavatam is Smriti, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Bhagavatam is Smriti. Purana Smriti. Vedas are Smriti. Okay. What about Mahabharata?
Ithihas, Prabhuji.
Eh?
Ithihas. Itihas.
It comes in which this thing, Smriti or Sruti?
Who writes it?
Shruti.
Smriti only, Prabhuji. Veda Vyasa Smriti only, no problem.
Smriti, yes, right. But what about Bhagavad Gita?
It is Shruti, Prabhuji.
It is not a Smriti. Why? Because it is in the Smriti Purana.
Bhagavad. Sorry. Yeah, it is Bhagavad Mahabharata.
Okay.
Prabhu, Mahabharata will not come as Puranas, Prabhu.
It is Itihasas, but it is in the category of Smriti. Shruti, Smriti, Purana, Adi, they says, but it comes in the Smriti only. Shruti, Vedas, Upanishads and all. Shruti, Vedas mainly. So the Supreme Lord, in his localized aspect of Paramatma, is also described in the Vedas themselves. The following verse appears in the Vedas, Chandogya Upanishad. Tavat esha samprasado smach sharirat samuthaya param jyoti rupam sampadya svena rupena bini shpadyatyade sa uttama purusha. The super soul coming out of the body enters the impersonal Brahma Jyotir. Then in his form, he remains in the spiritual identity. Okay. That Supreme is called the Supreme Personality. This means that Supreme Personality is exhibiting and diffusing his spiritual effulgence, which is the ultimate illumination. That Supreme Personality also has a localized aspect of Paramatma by incarnating himself as the son of Satyavati and Parasara. He explains the Vedic knowledge as Vyasadeva. So here, Prabhupada is telling in the purport that, how Vyasadeva, in what capacity he compiled this Srimad Bhagavatam and other literatures. That Supreme Personality also has a localized aspect as Paramatma by incarnating himself as a son of Satyavati. So incarnated as a son of Satyavati and Parasara. He explains the Vedic knowledge as Vyasadeva. So he is Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasadeva. So he gave us this Vedic knowledge. So he is called the literary incarnation. Lord Sri Krishna's literary incarnation is Vyasadeva, who came here and who gave us the complete Vedic literatures. Okay, so any questions or any comments? No? So we'll go to the one more sloka we can take and then we'll conclude. Yo mamevam asammudho janati purushottamam sa sarva vidbhajati mam sarva bhavena bharata. Okay, Parag Prabhu.
Prabhuji, I am reading the shloka and he will read the Yo mamevu sammuno janati purushottamam sa sarvavid bhajati mam sarva bhavena bharata.
Very good.
Whoever knows me as a Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is the knower of the everything. He therefore engage himself in full devotional service to me, O son of Bharata.
Very good. Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is the knower of everything. He therefore engages himself in full devotional service to me, O son of Bharata. Okay, here Krishna is telling without doubt. How can Krishna be God? Then God. After learning all this, after reading and after learning all these things, still if you have doubt, can Krishna be God? Then it's of no use. So the person without any doubt who has firm conviction that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he himself says, okay, that whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality without doubting is the knower of everything. He knows everything. He therefore engages into, only such a person can engage in full devotional service to Krishna, O son of Bharata. There are many philosophical speculations about the constitutional position of the living entities and the supreme absolute truth. Now, in this verse, the Supreme Personality of Godhead clearly explains that anyone who knows Lord Krishna to be the Supreme Person is actually the knower of everything. The imperfect knower goes on simply speculating about the absolute truth, but the perfect knower, without wasting his valuable time, engages directly in Krishna's consciousness, devotional service of Supreme Lord. See, when Krishna directly informs us that he is the Supreme Lord, the person who is intelligent, he immediately accepts it. Others will go on speculating. They will never, come to the real truth, the real understanding also. So he is the intelligent person who accepts the verdict of Supreme Lord Krishna given in the Bhagavad Gita. The imperfect knower goes on, we read that, okay? Throughout the whole Bhagavad Gita, this fact is being stressed at every step. And still there are so many stubborn commentators on Bhagavad Gita who consider the Supreme Absolute Truth and the living entities to be one and the same. In spite of clearly indicating, clearly giving that Lord Krishna, the speaker of Bhagavad Gita, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Time and again, in each and every words and in each and every syllable, he is confirming this. But still people doesn't believe that. They try to speculate and they think that, the Supreme Absolute Truth and the living entities are on the same level. And they also think that the Supreme Absolute Truth can come in any form and can be, Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, Muruga, Ganesha, all these things are all same. Okay. He has very clearly indicated that they're all different empowered personalities. He is the only one and only one without a second. He is the Supreme Personality. Time and again, in each and every sloka, sentences, words, and syllables, he has made it very clear. But still, people doesn't take it, and they want to speculate. So, Vedic knowledge is called Shruti, learning by oral reception. One should actually receive the Vedic message from authorities like Krishna and his representatives. Here, Krishna distinguishes everything very nicely, and one should hear from this source. Simply to hear like the hawks is not sufficient. One must be able to understand from the authorities. It is not that one should simply speculate academically. One should submissively hear from Bhagavad Gita, and that these living entities are always subordinate to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anyone who is able to understand this, according to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna knows the purpose of the Vedas. No one else knows the purpose of the Vedas. Only devotees will know the purpose of the Vedas. What is the purpose of Vedas? Veda isya sarve aham eva vedyo. This is the purpose of Vedas. The word bhajati is very significant. In many places, the word bhajati is expressed in relationship with the service of the Supreme Lord. If a person is engaged in full Krishna consciousness in the devotional service of the Lord, it is to be understood that he has understood all the Vedic knowledge. In the Vaishnava Parampara, it is said that if one is engaged in the devotional service of Krishna, then there is no need for any other scriptural process for understanding the Supreme Absolute Truth. He has already come to the point because he is engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. He has entered all preliminary processes of understanding. But if anyone, after speculating for hundreds of thousands of lives, does not come to the point of Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that one has to surrender there, all his speculation for so many years and lives is useless waste of time. So many lives you have taken, okay? And still, we have not come to the conclusion that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All our lives have wasted. Shrama evahi kevalam. Okay. There is only one more sloka, we can just finish it. Okay, this chapter. It's okay for you all?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So text 20. Iti guhyatamam shastram idam muktam mayanaka edat buddhva buddhiman syat krita krityascha bharata. Sachi Mataji. Not there? Okay. Then Saraswati Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Iti guhya tamam shastram idam uktam mayanaga etat buddhva buddhimam syat krita krityascha bharata.
Very good. Sachi Mataji, translation please.
This is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures, O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection.
Very good. This is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures, O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. So, whom is he telling this to? Arjuna. He is addressed as here as O sinless one. What is that? Anagha. Anagha means sinless. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. So Lord clearly explains here that this is the substance of all revealed scriptures. This is the essence and substance of all revealed scriptures, and one should understand this as it is given by the Supreme Personality of God. So it's a very clearly very clearly in a plain way, Krishna has made us understand that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So why can't we accept it? Why do you want to keep speculating? Oh, maybe his Shakti is everything, or he is everything, or the other person is everything. Thus one will become intelligent and perfect in transcendent knowledge. In other words, by understanding this philosophy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and engaging in his transcendent service, everyone can become freed from all contaminations of the modes of material nature. Devotional service is a process of spiritual understanding. Wherever devotional service exists, the material contamination cannot coexist. Devotional service to the Lord and the Lord himself are one and the same because they are spiritual. So the devotional service and the Lord are spiritual. That's why they are same. Devotional service takes place within the internal energy of the Supreme Lord. The Lord is said to be the sun, and ignorance is called darkness. When the sun is present, there is no question of darkness. Where there is sun, there is no darkness. Where there is Krishna, there is no Maya. Isn't it? Therefore, whenever devotional service is present under the proper guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, there is no question of ignorance. Everyone must take to this consciousness of Krishna and engage in devotional service to become intelligent and purified. Unless one comes to the position of understanding Krishna and engages in devotional service, however intelligent he may be in the estimation of some common man, he is not perfectly intelligent. The word Anagha, by which Arjuna is addressed, is significant. Anagha, O sinless one, means that unless one is free from all sinful reactions, it is very difficult to understand Krishna. So only a sinless person can understand Krishna. That's why here Lord is addressing Arjuna as Anagha. He is sinless because he is the eternal companion of Lord Sri Krishna, not in this life, from many lives. So only sinless Jivatmas can become the companion of Supreme Lord. Not everyone, not conditioned soul. Only liberated souls can become the Parshad, the companion of Supreme Lord. One has to become free from all contaminations, all sinful activities, then he can understand. But devotional service is so pure and potent that once one is engaged in the devotional service, he automatically comes to the stage of sinlessness. Okay, while one is performing devotional service in the association of the pure devotees in full Krishna consciousness, there are certain things which require to be vanquished altogether. The most important thing one has to surmount is weakness of the heart. First fall down is caused by the desire to laud it our material nature, because we want to become the boss. So we want to laud the material nature and bring her under our control for our enjoyment. So that's where, the problem starts. Thus one gives up the transcendent loving service to Supreme Lord. The second weakness of the heart is that as one increases the propensity to laud it over material nature, he becomes attached to matter and the possession of matter. The problems of material existence are due to these weaknesses of the heart. So laud it over the material nature, and once we start doing that, we becomes attached to that. In this chapter, the first 5 verses describe the process of freeing oneself from the weakness of heart, and the rest of the chapter, from the 6th verse through the end, discusses Purushottama Yoga. Okay, so that's end the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 15th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of Purushottama Yoga, the yoga of the Supreme Person. Yoga of the Supreme Person. Hare Krishna. So, any comments or any questions so far? So, next week onwards. 16th chapter will take next week. Okay. So let me mark here. Divine and demonic natures. So that is the next week's. Maybe. Hare Krishna Vancha Kalpatarubhesha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Ananda Kodi Vaishnavadi ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai.